The Uganda State of Oil and Gas Sector feature is brought to you by Accord in partnership with Cisco, NCV.
This expansive estate, which lies in Chakabuga, is part of a wider livelihood initiative program. Hundreds of families who previously occupied a sprawling 29 square kilometer piece of land to pave way for the construction of an oil refinery and other related infrastructure have relocated here under a Resettlement Action Plan. The Resettlement Action Plan is a process of evaluation of property, such as land and all developments thereon, in order to determine compensation or resettlement. During the resettlement process, affected persons were given two options: cash compensation or resettlement. Out of 1,221 affected households, 93 opted for resettlement and the rest cash compensation. The UNDP's guiding principles on resilient livelihood restoration include market or demand-driven, resource-based, ecological soundness, empowerment at all levels, inclusivity and gender sensitivity, and consideration to climate and risk reduction elements.
Most of these communities, they've been doing a lot of subsistence, basically subsistence farming or petty businesses. So when this comes in, one will look at it as an opportunity to help them basically improve their livelihoods.
Giving them a startup, giving them land, supporting them with the seedlings, giving them skills in agriculture, livelihood, livestock management, and the rest. So those are some of them. But on the other hand, there are other larger and the livelihood programs that are targeting beyond the project affected persons. Those are the ones like the Albertine Region Sustainable Development Project, which is looking at skilling, giving skills, different skills to young people in the entire Albertine.
Those who resettled here faced a number of challenges. But there is a window of hope as electricity and other social services are being extended to this place, which was a backwater.
Fortunately, during the time when we have come here, the rest of things which we have been told, we have not yet got them. Some of them was the water and the health center and the market.
How about electricity?
Electricity, they brought it later. During the time when we come here, each and everyone was been using on their own money to go and get solar panel, and the rest who haven't get money, they used to buy this, so the small paraffin to use for just for fire.
A raft of livelihood restoration programs have been implemented to resettle fully oil and gas projects affected persons. CNOC has implemented a couple of livelihood restoration initiatives for Kingfisher development project affected people. These projects include fish farming, livestock improvement through introducing better breeds for livestock. Total E&P has implemented a couple of livelihood restoration projects in Bulisa district through contractors such as the supply of food and planting materials such as cassava, vegetable crops and fruit trees. However, civil society actors want some of the programs to take a holistic approach towards those they resettle.
So when RAP comes, it's life-changing, because sometimes you have to be relocated to pave way for the construction of an infrastructure or whatever it is that they want the land for. And it's a process that unfortunately we tend to rush. But you're dealing with adults that have had their lives in these pieces of land, and they have formed a life beyond just money, but they have social networks, they have their spiritual lives, they have their friends there, they have income generating activities, and they have the way they have sustained themselves. It's always hard to adjust. So companies do as much as possible to prepare communities, but as I said, it's always in a rushed manner.
However, the challenge has been that most of the communities and people who are affected are deep down in the villages, and they're usually the illiterate group. So at the end of the day, you find that there is a lot of financial and literacy that is needed to be imparted in these people, because if they are not helped, you're going to find that at the end of the day, what would have been a blessing turns out to be a curse.
The company is saying, we shall take you where we have identified the land. An individual says, me, I want to identify my own what? My own land. So it needs that compromise. And that's why, at the moment, the cash compensation becomes very easy. But resettlement, relocating a person, becomes a challenge because of that not agreeing on the methodology. Who's supposed to lead the what? The resettlement process.
Families have not only cultural ties, but have burial sites and sentimental attachment to some of these ancestral places where they are relocated from. Resettlement should be carried out in the most humane manner against communities who must cope with a new place away from their ancestral birthplaces.
The Uganda State of Oil and Gas Sector feature was brought to you by Accord in partnership with Cisco and